About once a month, I run a free week-long meditation group on Facebook called the 7-Day Meditation Kickstart. And as part of that group, I offer guided mindfulness meditation for people who are new to the practice. And in those meditations, I guide people to use the rising and falling movements of the breath as an object to observe during their meditation. And in particular, I tell them to simply observe the physical sensations associated with the inhale and exhale without doing anything to modify the breath, without trying to make it smoother or deeper or change it in any way. Just observe it. And one of the things that often comes up for people during the week-long group is how difficult it can be just to do that, just to be with the breath however it is and simply observe it. Because there's a strong tendency to mess with the breath somehow, especially because it often seems to change all by itself while you're observing it. One minute it might be nice and smooth, and then the next minute, for whatever reason, it turns all choppy or raspy. And naturally, you just want to change it so that it stays nice and smooth. But if you can resist monkeying with the breath in this way, it's a golden opportunity to catch a glimpse of something really important and fundamental. I'll explain what I mean. Let's say that your breath is currently nice and relaxed. It's smooth and deep, kind of how you imagine the breath should be during meditation. And then, for whatever reason, it starts to get all choppy and feel more forced. Now, before doing anything else, see if you can notice the desire you have for the breath to be different than it is right now in this moment. Is there a wanting for the breath to be more natural or less choppy or maybe deeper or slower or whatever? Now, the actual presentation of the breath during meditation is actually completely irrelevant in and of itself. The real action is to be aware of the desire to manipulate it, to change it so that it more closely approximates some ideal you might have about what the breath is supposed to be like while meditating.
There's something I need to tell you.
Uh-huh.
I want you to be different.
So that's what you want to try and notice. Any resistance you might have to allowing the breath to just be as it is. Now, why is that so important? Well, at the risk of oversimplifying things a bit, that kind of resistance is one of the root causes of feeling discontent with how things are. It's one of the prime sources of unhappiness in life. I'll give you a great example. The day after Halloween, my 7-year-old son had a soccer game, and it was our turn to bring snacks for the team. So we put together a bag of granola bars, which are a team favorite, and a bunch of cut-up oranges. And after the game was over, the kids eagerly ran for the snacks and dug in. And then one of the players looked at me with these big, sad eyes and said, "That's it? That's all we get? No Halloween candy?" Now, isn't it amazing how what would have brought cheers at last week's game was now a source of suffering at this one, all because of an expectation for things to be a certain way and the thwarting of that expectation. Now, the granola bars were still deliciously crunchy and the oranges were sweet and juicy, but he couldn't experience that in that moment. And meditation is where we have the opportunity to notice this kind of resistance and desire and to learn how to practice with it. And that's how we develop enough skill so we can apply it in daily life and make some fundamental and dramatic changes. So when you notice resistance and desire, your task is to be as fully and clearly aware of them as you can, but do nothing to act on them or react to them. That's super important. Just be curious. Get to know what resistance is like, what physical sensations are associated with it, what thoughts and other mental activity arise in conjunction with it, and how long does it last. Spend the time to get to know it really, really well and don't do anything to suppress it or act on it. If this is too difficult for you right now, then try to practice this kind of curious observation with just the breath itself. Be aware of how it changes, but do your best to not alter it. Just get to know the breath really well. And after a while, you'll develop enough equanimity to then move on to observing the resistance and the desire itself. I hope you found this video helpful and that now you have a better understanding of why it's important not to control the breath during meditation if your goal is to develop mindfulness. I'm Grabovac, and thanks for watching.